This video will show you how to save hundreds of dollars when it comes time to replace the touchscreen in your car. Unless otherwise mentioned, all pricing referring to this situation is based on a 2011 to 2016 Dodge Journey configuration. Other models may be higher or lower. We also did a video showing a step-by-step procedure on how to replace a touchscreen even if you've never done it before. Just click on the link in the description. This is about an 8.4-inch touchscreen that started getting sketchy over the course of a couple of weeks and finally stopped working altogether. The screen worked in that it was lit up and you could see all the different icons and the temperature and the time, but you were unable to navigate to any of the functions of the screen. The first call was to Uconnect, the OEM supplier of the radio and touchscreen. We were hoping that since the unit was only 3.5 years old, that they would swap out a new unit as a goodwill replacement. That didn't happen. Instead, they advised that we take the car to the dealer and get a hard reset done. This cost about $73 for no fix, along with a diagnosis to replace the radio for around $375 plus labor. Since the radio still worked fine otherwise, I disagreed with their opinion and thought the screen needed to be replaced instead. They told me that was another $1,700 for the screen plus installation, another $75. That also made sense why Uconnect wasn't willing to replace the unit, even though it was only 3.5 years old. However, pricing like that can be inspirational. If they would have quoted a reasonable price, they might have gotten the job, but since they didn't, we were inspired to find alternate resources. It boiled down to two options: repair the broken unit or replace it with a different assembly. Now, for clarification purposes, there are 5 parts to a screen assembly. There is the touchscreen itself, the circuit board that connects to the touchscreen with 3 ribbon cables, the mounting bracket that holds the unit to the dash bezel, and the metal casing, front and back, that holds the other 3 parts together as an assembly. The part number on the back of the case refers to this assembly. You can buy just the screen to replace in the assembly for around $189, but the process was over my head since I had no experience working on circuit boards. Plus, there are 3 very fragile ribbons that need to be connected to the circuit board from the screen, and if you screw one up, you have to get another screen. Plus, it was extremely difficult to remove the screws holding the circuit board to the mounting bracket. You need a number 0 Phillips head for one thing, which is very small, and a lot of leverage since those screws are very tight. We found a couple of places that will repair the screen, starting at $299 and up from there. One drawback with the repair is that you need to remove your current unit and send it into their facility. The quickest ones promise your unit will be fixed and shipped out within 1 day, but when you add 2 or 3 days to get it there, plus 2 or 3 days to get it back, it can mean 8 days without a screen in place. You could always pay for next day delivery, but that would bump your cost up another $150 for both ways, bringing your total to $450 minimum. Your vehicle will run without the screen, but some of the functions won't work as well. Heat, for example, barely works, and that can be a nuisance if you live in North Dakota and it's wintertime. If you are in a mild climate, don't mind having your dash in pieces for a week, and are sure it is the screen that is the problem and not the radio, then repair is an option for you to go. Replacement. There are 2 options when it comes to replacement: used and refurbished. We'll talk about used parts first. There are hundreds of auto salvage yards across the country, and it is likely that a majority of them have at least one vehicle that has the part that matches what you're looking for. There are also a couple of websites that act as consolidators and list parts and prices from member salvage yards, which makes it easier for you to find what you are looking for fairly quickly. Sort of. We called several yards, spoke to some people who sounded like they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't. And we talked to some who sounded like they did know what they were doing, but were not able to provide much in the way of quality merchandise. You would think that an item that could fetch upwards of $300 and take less than 10 minutes to remove would be taken better care of. Most of these places provided pictures of the screen, and many of them looked pretty bad. Water spots, debris, dirt, and dust covered many of them to some degree. Several promised they would call back once they were able to check their inventory by going out to the yard and looking in the vehicle. And no one called back. Some had photos of the unit in the on position so you could see that it lit up, but it didn't seem like any of them could promise the unit worked. However, they would refund your money if it didn't, less shipping costs. Refurbished. A refurb unit seemed to be the way to go. It gets sent out to you before you pull out your screen, and you can get it replaced within a short time and back on the road quickly. The refurbs are generally new screens with a 90-day to 1-year warranty, and you know it's been tested to work. The first outfit that came up on the search was Infotainment. They have replacements and upgrades. You can upgrade from a smaller screen to a larger screen or a non-navigation unit to a navigation unit. However, their prices seem to be on par with the dealer prices. In other words, too high. But they also have a sister company that does repairs starting at $299. Then we found a supplier who claimed he had the right part. He wanted $300 plus $15 shipping. So okay, send it. So he sent it. However, the screen was marked 2012 Charger. The screen had the proper electrical connections on the back. However, the mounting bracket did not line up with my bezel, and since the mounting bracket is between the screen and the circuit board inside the assembly box, there's no realistic way of swapping the mounting bracket with my broken unit. Besides, I couldn't loosen the screws holding the circuit board to the mounting bracket. I plugged the screen in anyways to see if it indeed was the problem, and it was. I was able to access all the functions provided by the screen and make changes like airflow and reset the time on the clock. But since I couldn't mount it, it just sat behind the unattached bezel, so I could use it while I negotiated with this supplier to get the proper part. He told me to send in the replacement part along with my part, and he would swap them out. I told him that I wasn't going to send in my screen since I needed it to keep my heater working, which I told him before. Then he said he had the right assembly available and he would send it out when he received the wrong part back. After a couple of days passed, and UPS verified that the piece I sent back had arrived, I called to see if he had sent out the replacement part yet. He told me he had the part on hand. However, it included a bezel, which raised the price another $200. When I told him I didn't need the bezel, he suggested I send in my broken assembly and he would swap mine with the wrong assembly I returned. Once again, I explained I wasn't going to send in my screen, so he offered a refund, which I accepted. In the meantime, I was able to find a local who had some experience with circuit boards and ribbon cables and who was able to test and fix the touchscreen assemblies. We also found a source for screens and core assemblies. We did a run-through for my vehicle and ended up with a great result. Now I have a touchscreen that works just fine, and the price was right. Because of that success, we were able to source refurbished replacement screens for you with the right part number and, more importantly, the right price. We did a video showing a step-by-step procedure on how to replace the touchscreen, even if you've never done it before. You can access the video through the link in the description. If you don't want to do it yourself, and you know your dealer won't do it for you, check out your local body shop. They're always taking cars apart, and something like this minor could be done in under an hour. So if you're in the market for a refurbed screen, send us an email, use the address in the link. We'll see what we can find out for you. We'll let you know, and if we have what you want, we'll be glad to take care of you.